Cool. So, yeah, so this is basically a document that we've tried to like list down all changes of ABDM that we've done so far and things that we are planning to do. It has some parts that are incomplete, but those parts are not yet scoped. So I've left them out for now. So these are listed topics. So we start with what is ABDM. We then go to understanding a little bit more about ABDM, then benefits for all participating members, then how do we benefit out of it. Then we jump on to functional modules. Like functional modules are the modules that are already present and we already have. So that is like HFR. I'll delve into details as we go. Then we have the next part is modules that are to be built yet. So that is these three, like linking of patient records based on demographics, fetching of patient details based on mobile number, creating of ABA directly using mobile, and then these are the four other things that we need to do, which is HFR onboarding enhancement is a small enhancement which right now happens manually. Then this is the M3 piece, which is fetching of patient records. Then there is scan and share. Scan and share is essentially like ABDM's kiosk mode, where they've made a kiosk like they've made a implementation plan for kiosk which you can use, which like benefits from the ABDM ecosystem. And then there are adoption measures like in product messaging, communication, and last is engineering timelines and conclusions. So to begin with, what is ABDM? Now ABDM is just a project that is taken by the government of India. It is, like, to be more specific, by the National Health Authority. Now they are trying to create a infrastructure for India where private players and public players can essentially collaborate and make like a place where all healthcare transactions happen in the same place.
It's like UPI.
So it's like UPI for healthcare. Yeah, perfect. Now, moving to definition and actions, I'll skip ABDM for now. So, health facility registry. Now, health facility registry is the first building block of ABDM. Now, what does that do? It basically is like a repository of all facilities across India that in some way cater to healthcare. Now, it can be your clinics, it can be your labs, it can be your hospitals, it can be imaging centers and whatnot. It also has pharmacies. The next piece is your HPR, or like your healthcare professional registry. Now this is a repository of doctors or healthcare professionals across India, again in the same place. So this is like your nurses, your doctors, your facility managers and whatnot. After that, there is your health information user application. Now this is like a place where healthcare professionals and healthcare facility managers can essentially collaborate, where they can search like for their records, for facilities and whatnot again. So this is like the place where all these three come together. And last is your health information provider number, also known as HIP. Now HIP is like on the implementation side of ABDM. So these three like HFR, ABA and HPR were the components, and the building blocks are HIU, HIP. So HIP is nothing but a health information provider. So any application or any entity which provides information to ABDM ecosystem, or like pushes information to the ABDM ecosystem, is called HIP. So we are an HIP essentially, kind of. Yeah, it can also be an HIU. So HIU is again any entity which fetches information from the ecosystem. So most applications are a combination of both. Right now we are only an HIP, but eventually we'll want to be a combination of both.
HIU, what is an example of current HIU?
HIU current example would be Bajaj, where they fetch health records from Bajaj Health, or your Paytm, or all your PHR applications are only HIU. Yeah. Then the third building block is your consent manager and a gateway. So consent manager is something which manages the consent of a patient. So in ABDM, what happens is these building blocks or these different components interact with each other on a patient level.
But PHR you mentioned separately than HIU. What is the reason for that?
So it's not PHR. Consent managers are not only PHR.
No, I know.
Okay, this why I mentioned separately, because it's they have mentioned it separately in their own components, where they are like कि PHR में और भी चीजें हैं, because PHR is more focused on longitudinal health, where they're like कि insights and everything. But so consent manager is okay. Now what happens is these three components, so HFR and HPR, will essentially transact with each other on patient level, where patient records would be transferred from one place to another, and all that will happen through a consent manager, which will essentially manage your consent of the patient. Exactly the way where we do UPI transactions, where UPI is essentially, or your Google Pay is essentially a consent manager, where you give consent to Google Pay, okay, transfer this much money from this account to this account. So that's the consent manager. Then there's a gateway. Now gateway is again it's like a wall between ABDM and any of the applications which manages your transactions for that application. So an example is like, okay, there's Live Health app, which is our application, and there's a gateway for Live Health, which essentially helps Live Health transact. So okay, say for example, one doctor requests a record that will come to gateway, to our gateway, and our gateway will decide, okay, this is the record that I have to fetch. It will notify the Live Health app.
It's
and
exactly same as a payment gateway.
it's exactly same as a payment gateway. It manages transactions. Yes,
Correct.
perfect.
Yeah.
For your particular application.
Correct.
Yes. So that's a gateway. So these are the different things I've like explained on the top. One thing which is not present over here is the DHIS, or the Digital Health Incentive Scheme. This is a scheme which is introduced by NHA. It's essentially to promote NDHM, where they are actually incentivizing, like they're giving monetary incentive to all software applications and to people who are participating in it. So all the doctors, all the facilities who participate in ABDM get money. Of course, there are terms and conditions to it, but I think that's not important for the context of this particular discussion.
Cool.
Anything that I missed? No, nothing. Okay. Now let's come to benefits of ABDM. So ABDM benefits for labs, I've divided this into three: for labs, for patients, for doctors. Now for labs, I'll just touch upon all the points. So first is monetary benefits. So under DHIS, they get money for every transaction that they make. Second is they get a unique identity. So right now there is no real repository in India which essentially has the which essentially is like a consolidation of all facilities in one place. This does that, and in the future this will help them to build that identity for themselves. Online presence and discoverability, again, if they're able to get HFR in the future through PHR apps and everything, they will be able to get more business because they'll have an online presence. And last is ease of doing business, where under HFR, ABDM is essentially giving them a few things. They're helping out, like NABL certification, all those things are helping out. And last is again improve quality of services, because a few things can be taken care of, like communication of with patient and everything would be taken care by the ABD ecosystem. They can essentially focus more on quality of the care. Now coming to doctors, again doctors first is that they can essentially have easy access or improve access of patient data, where they don't have to essentially rely on the patient's files. They can just access all the data directly on the ABDM ecosystem. Then next is, again, because of that, the efficiency of patient care will increase, because they can have records, all the records pre-hand before or like while they are consulting the patient. And yeah, improved accuracy, because of like no information would be missed. And ABDM benefits for patients. So first is again easy access to healthcare, where when the HFR repository is complete and the HPR repository is complete, they'll know exactly which are the nearest facilities, nearest doctors, and they can avoid hoax. So that is one thing. And data privacy, because ABDM has a state of art like privacy thing, so like that will help them out. Now moving on to the next piece is, how does Crelio Health benefit from ABDM? So first is again monetary benefits, where under DHIS, every transaction that the labs use Crelio Health make, we get some amount of money. So it essentially can be a small piece of revenue, but it can like help adding revenue. Next is customer acquisition. So moving forward, when ABDM gains like some momentum and it becomes like a mandatory thing, all solutions which are ABDM compliant will see a spike in demand, and I think that's when we'll have more adoption. And improved interoperability, where if we are connected to all peripheral systems, I think it helps our customers more, and it becomes like a more sticky system. Now, a high level technical details. Now, this is not a technical detail, this is just like a high level detail. So, what happens right now is in Crelio Health, there is a service called Fiducia, which essentially is like our gateway. So, Fiducia directly interacts with ABDM, the Live Health app does not. Live Health app directly just interacts with Fiducia, and Fiducia will then interact with ABDM for every transaction. So, there is no way where Live Health directly interacts with ABDM or vice versa.
This is the reason is what?
So, the reason is because two things. So Fiducia is actually so gateway can be used by third party people also. So we can, this is what we had planned when we actually made ABDM, is that we'll also make our gateway public, where people who don't use our solution will also be able to use our ABDM.
Cool.
Will be able to use our gateway. That's the first reason. And second reason is that because it is like ABDM, whenever it takes a lot of force, it will have a lot of requests recurring. So
we want
yeah,
a
so
service.
yeah,
It's like a microservice.
microservice. It's not. I don't think it's a microservice. I don't know the tech part of it. Is it a microservice or is it just a separate repository? But as far as I know, it's like a middle interface where
Got it.
which interacts between the two.
See.
Now coming to functional modules, so these are the three things which we've already built. The first thing is lab onboarding to HFR. Now this is a simple thing where we already saw what HFR is, which is like a repository of facilities. Now we made a module where labs using our software in India can essentially register themselves for HFR directly using our software. They don't have to go to the ABDM website. It will be like a part of their current solution. So to delve deeper into it, so again, overview, the feature designed to simplify the process of lab registration in HFR, which is like they don't have to go to multiple places, they can do it directly in our solution. Now the problem that it solves, first is the HFR portal is very generic. So it is actually a portal which is made for all facilities. So it's like a generic portal which is made for imaging centers, for hospitals, which is the ABDM HFR engine. So what happens is if labs have to go there and fill the form out, it takes few hours because it asks a lot of irrelevant questions which are not needed for labs. So what we've done is we've tailored it out to essentially specifically for labs, where it only has things which are relevant to lab.
Correct.
Second thing is, even if you create it on the HFR portal, still to use ABDM, you still have to be registered under a gateway, right? And because they're using our solution, they have to be registered under our gateway. So it becomes a very difficult transaction because they'll go to HFR, they'll create their HFR, they'll give us the ID, we'll find that ID, and then we'll register them under our bridge. Instead, doing this almost completes the loop directly in a single step. And so basically simplification of the process was necessary to basically have more and more labs register for HFR. Now success, we feel that the success for this feature would be
So bridge is nothing but
the gateway.
Our fiduciary.
Our fiduciary, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now success, now we would know that this is successful when first if more and more labs register themselves to HFR, like if the number of labs using Corelio Health register themselves on HFR easily, that would I think be the key metric. And second is that the time that needs or the support that needs to be given to do that should be as low as possible. Like it should be as intuitive as possible. Now, coming to the solution. Now the solution is actually very straightforward. I'll just come to the screenshot. Yeah.
No, okay.
I'll first come to the screenshot and then I think it will be
Yeah.
easier. Yeah. So this is like the form that we have where you have to like there are a few fields like you have ownership information, then you have your address details, and then you have your contact details. So these are the things. Now it's like a single page form. Now these are the different fields that you have to fill in. So first is the facility name, which is name of the lab. It is already pre-filled, which we already take it from because when we have labs on board, we take it from there. You can also tweak it a little bit. You have to like maybe you want to remove. Yeah, if you want to remove a few things, you can. Second is facility address. Now address of the lab. Now this is not pre-filled. This is something that the labs have to fill in because we don't have the exact address of that particular lab.
We do have.
Actually, in most cases, it's just city का नहीं सिर्फ city का नाम लिखा है सर. So इसीलिए वो हमने ये किया है. State is pre-filled. So once you fill in the address, the state will automatically be fetched and that will be pre-filled. District is not pre-filled. Now district you have to, it's a drop down, you have to select. It comes from the LGD directory of the government. So
we use
yeah, it's like a government LGD directory. City is also not
Same.
pre-filled. Same, it's a sub-district LGD from the government. Pin code is pre-filled from the address that you fill in. So as soon as you add the address, state and the pin code will be pre-filled. Latitude, longitude also is pre-filled. We just show it on the map, on the US. So if you want to tweak a little here and there, you can. Facility contact is also pre-filled. It comes from the lab details. And facility address is pre-filled. Service provided is not pre-filled. So what we've done is we've just given a checkbox where I'll come to it when we go down, but we just given a checkbox that okay, do you perform pathology or like do you only perform diagnostics or you perform both, like diagnostics and imaging. So it's like
diagnostic is pathology.
So pathology and imaging is the option or both is the option. So there are three options, and we then pre-fill the service.
Other things.
Yeah. So steps to be followed. So okay. Now key information to create HFR. So if I come to this flow.
Yeah.
So what happens is you go lab login, you go to account overview, ABDM, lab details will be filled. Now API will be called for HFR, and when it's called data validation, if it passes, then all these things will happen. Now like which is your lab is added to HFR. Lab is also added to our HPR. Now, what is an HPR? I'll just explain in a few minutes. And the HPR ID is shown for the lab to see. Now, what happens is, yeah, if you remember, okay, ये थोड़ा problem होगा, ठीक है. So if you remember, we had discussed that there's an HPR ID, which is your healthcare professional ID, which is essentially a repository of all healthcare professionals. So what happens is, in order for you to create an HFR or for you to create a facility, you need to have a professional ID.
Correct.
Now, because it becomes a little tedious for labs to first create a professional ID and then create an HFR ID, what we've made a provision with NHA and collaborated on that is we've created a master HPR ID of Crilio Health, which is essentially a HPR ID which is Crilio Health's HPR ID, and all the HFRs that are registered through our system are registered under that HPR ID. So it's like a Crilio Health का HPR ID है, उसके अंडर जो भी labs हमारे solution से HFR create कर रहे हैं, वो HFR तो उनका है, but वो HPR ID हमारा use होगा. They can also transfer it later on. So if they want, you can just, it's a simple transfer that they have to do. Yeah. So this is the steps. It's a simple step again. You have to go there, click on the sign in page, fill the details, and once it's done, you'll see the screen where
So ID वो नीचे
yeah, यहाँ पे ID दिखता है, यहाँ पे ये भी दिखता है कि we've shared the HFR with the nodal contact. So जो भी facility का contact होता है उसको एक email जाता है कि आपका ये सब create हुआ है.
Got it.
Yeah.
वो HFR करता है.
HFR.
Sorry.
ABDM करता है.
ABDM का.
Yes. Yeah, to enable, so now this is important information. So to enable the different options like creating health ID. So once this is done, after that, if you want to still, when you want to use ABDM, like you want to create health IDs or you want to transact, you have to go and enable the national registry setting from registration settings. So you have to go to national registry setting, and under registration settings, after creating, you have to enable that. That's the first thing. Second is, in the current implementation, the lab HFR ID must be manually added to the Crilio Health bridge. So what happens is, everything works, like all the things happen. The last one thing which is pending has to be done manually, where you have to go and add that particular facility under the bridge. How is that done? I have a document for that. I'll just link
but
it.
They have to automate it, but yeah, right
Yeah,
now
it's manual. So that's, I have added in the things to be done.
Okay.
For labs that have already done, again, there's a document I have linked below, where if they already have a HFR, they can link it through our system. It's a small process that they have. And last is, if a lab wishes to transfer the controller facility from the admin HPR ID to their own HPR ID. So I just mentioned that all the facilities are created on our HPR ID. If they want to transfer that to their own, it's a simple process. Again, they just have to provide their HPR ID and we'll transfer. Yeah. And last is, once the lab is created, they cannot add more facilities. So in our solution, if they once create a HFR in one lab login, they cannot create more HFRs. So it's restricted to one HFR per login in our system.
Per lab.
Per lab in our system. Now coming to technical details. So this is a high level flowchart. So what happens is, when you start with HFR creation, the first thing that you do is, this is the API which is called, and this API is actually common across every ABDM step, which is a gateway authentication, which authenticates what gateway is using this. So you authenticate the gateway. So you gateway authentication with client details. So client details is our details, Crilio Health's details. Then you get a token out of it.
Right.
Then that token is used in this particular API. Now this API is the HPR token. So it's like, so first is
you validate
the gateway, and then you validate the HPR.
The provider.
Yeah, the healthcare professional.
Yes.
So you get the token out of it, and then that token you'll use. So like you get the HPR token and you have a bearer token. So bearer token is nothing but a gateway token, and HPR token is your HPR token, the healthcare professional token. Now these two tokens are used in all APIs further on for HFR. So first is where you have the basic information API. Okay, so basic information API is nothing but over here you have lab details. So what details are passed in that? I'll just actually.
So you open it in different
Yeah, I'll just open it in a different tab. Cool. So yeah, so the basic information API, these are details that you have to pass. Okay, so yeah, I'll just go again to the gateway authentication. So gateway authentication this is the structure where these are the things that we have to pass. These are our details. So we have to pass our client ID, we have to pass our client secret, and we have to type our grant type. In response, you'll get this token. So access token is the token which is the bearer token. Okay. After that, you will then pass the HPR ID, like you will pass this to the HPR token wala API where you get the HPR token, and after that, this is where you start using the HFR wala API. So first is the basic information API. In this is the structure where you have to pass these many details. I have a table for that. Yeah. So this is the details that you pass in the first API for creating or for the first step in the HFR creation. So first is that you have to pass tracking ID. This is not needed in the first step. Second is facility name of the facility. Is this pre-filled? Yes, but it's also available on the UI. And clearly, so the table is such that key in the API, description of that particular key, is it pre-filled, and clearly key UI pe, how is it shown. Then there is ownership code. This is the type of the ownership that the lab has. This is pre-filled. The value that we pass always is P. P stands for private. So we assume that all the labs that we have are private.
Right.
Yeah, and this is not shown on the Crellial UI. So we've hidden this on the UI itself. Then there is organization ownership subtype. Again, we pass it as PP. PP is okay. Private. So subtype can be public, private, and all those things. So it's private, none. So all the ones that are none are not shown on the UI itself. Then there is country. Then there is state, district, sub-district, facility, region. So all of this we like the no ones we don't send, and the yes available on the UI are the ones that are available on the UI, and these are the keys on the UI. And ones which have directly a value are the ones which we send by default. So system of medicine we pass default as M. M is modern medicine. Type code we send as 45. 45 is for diagnostic services. Subtype we send because like it's not needed to send for diagnostic services, so we don't pass. And operational status we pass as F. F stands for functional. So that's this facility is functional or it's running. And timings of facility we pass by default, which is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for Saturday from Monday to Saturday, because it doesn't matter, like it is not used anywhere. So for now, just to make it easier, we've passed it by default. Then the next step is your additional information API. So if I just go back to the if I just go back to the flowchart. So next is additional information. In this again you have to pass a little bit of more lab information.
यहाँ पे we get response पे what?
You get a tracking ID.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just show the response. So this is the response that you get. ये तो हो गया. Yeah, so you get response, that tracking ID मिलता है.
Status मिलता है tracking.
Yeah, tracking ID, and you just get like if successfully this step is successfully completed, you can now move on to the next one. ऐसा. So the
tracking ID is used in the next step.
In the next step, yeah. So all these steps after this have the tracking ID, so you exactly know क्योंकि ये tracking ID का क्या information add करने का है. So वैसा है. So yeah. So now next is additional
tracking
information.
ID is not the facility ID.
No. So tracking ID is the tracking ID for that step. It's like a temporary facility ID.
Temporary.
Facility ID, yeah. So this we store in our database also as facility ID until we get the actual facility ID.
Good.
Yeah. So next is additional information API. Additional information actually we mostly pass data related to their if they have an imaging center. So if they perform radiology services, then it's mostly about radiology services. Okay. So this is the structure. Now these are the information that we have to pass. Tracking ID, which we received in the previous step. Then it has highest dialysis center. So this is like, do you have a dialysis center? So this is something that we have hidden from the UI, and we by default passes no, because mostly labs don't have dialysis center. Then has pharmacy, again we passes no. Has blood bank, we passes no. Has cath lab, we passes no. Then when it comes to diagnostic lab, so if they have selected that they have pathology or other diagnostic services, we passes yes, else we passes no. And has imaging center, same. If they select that they have imaging, so we passes yes, or else we passes no. And if they have imaging services, then we pass this service code, which is S136, which stands for X-ray and CT scan. So by default we only pass these two services, but so this is a decision that we took for like making it easier to not have a lot of options in the front end, but they actually can add more technically, but we've for now hidden it. So this is the second step. Again, in the response you get the tracking ID. So okay, this step is successful, and this is the tracking ID that you get. Now the last step is your detailed flow. So detailed flow is again nothing, but it's more related to their infrastructure. So it's more for hospitals actually, where count of beds and count of oxygen, beds with oxygen cylinder and all these things. But for labs, the only thing that you have to actually pass is specialty. But in our case, there are no specialties as such. and last is कहाँ गया मेरे को? Diagnostic services, where you have to pass the diagnostic services. So like hematology, pathology, and biochemistry and all these things. So
what do we pass right
so
now?
we actually only pass pathology now. So this is the table, yeah. So for now, what we've done is, so system of medicine you have to again pass, which is M. Is specialization will we pass now, and diagnostic services. So if they have selected yes in the first step, where okay we have pathology, so we pass S212, which stands for pathology. So we pass that. So this is done, and the last step after that is submit facility. Submit facility has nothing. It has no information of the lab. It only has the tracking ID. It now has both the tokens. So again, the HPR token, which is needed in all the steps. You have that over here, and you have your this token. So you have your
HPR token.
both, yeah, bearer token, your HPR token, and you pass these for information, which is your tracking ID that you have received in all the steps, and you have source of information, source unique code, facility super user. All these are empty for now, so you don't have to pass any of that. So we pass as empty, and that once that is done, so whenever this is done, now you receive the facility ID.
Cool.
And you get this. So once this is done, so on this step, what we do is, these are 3 tables that we update in Live Health app.
Okay.
So first is facility onboarding. So actually facility onboarding is updated on each step. So what we do in each step,
Every
whatever,
step we share-
yeah,
share
we
the
update, yeah. So whatever information we have, so
Hmm.
tracking ID तो हम लोग update करते रहते हैं,
Yes.
but we collect information also, right, on each
Cool.
step. We update that also in the facility onboarding. Once it's completed, we add the facility ID. Then in Live Health
So
app,
we temporarily we actually completed for some labs where the
Yeah.
first step was filled and we completed.
completed from the backend, but now it's done where it
Yeah.
automatically adds.
Cool.
Yeah. Then there is HIP details.
So we in the facility onboarding, can you just open that table?
Yeah.
So do we store the status of any, what do you say? Is it complete or not? What
So
stage
right
it
now,
is?
so
Can you just show
yeah,
that
I'll just show
table?
it to you.
Yeah.
I'll just actually describe it for you.
Hmm.
So these are the things. So ID is the primary ID. Lab ID is the lab,
Lab
ID for
ID
which.
is connected with
So
the
tracking
lab
ID is the tracking ID that you've received in
Ah.
each step. Then there is ownership type, which
That
is
is
all your
what
details.
all
Yeah.
these are
So but as such, we don't really store the status where it is incomplete. But what happens is, when they initiate the flow, like so, say for example, I actually go ahead and initiate, but I don't complete. What happens is, I'll have a tracking ID, right? But I
not
won't have a facility ID. Yeah.
So when the facility ID is generated, it means it is complete.
It is complete. Yeah.
Cool. Got it.
So earlier also we actually used to update in this table. This table was never a problem. HIP details is the table in Live Health app. So अपने app में ही there is one more table, is HIP details, which is essentially used to interact with Fiducia. इसमें हम लोग update नहीं कर रहे थे. So वो हमको manually करना पड़ रहा था. Now that is also done. Now it
But why
updates.
is that different onboarding in HIP?
So onboarding में there's a lot of
for,
it has a lot of details. Yeah.
That's right.
हाँ कचरा है, and HIP
So
details
when
में
we HIP details में कभी आता है?
after the facility is created.
After
in the last step,
facility
yeah.
is- वो भी दिखा एक बार describe
Yeah.
करो.
Sorry. So these are the only 4 things that we have. So we have facility ID, we have HIP ID, we have access token.
HIP ID.
So HIP ID and facility ID actually are the same. So earlier what used to happen अपने इसमें, for some reason I think that might be because पहले ऐसा होगा, where all HIP IDs were LH-lab ID. But now it's facility ID. So we've changed that, where we store it in
Both are same, right?
Yeah, both are same actually. So lab ID is a lab ID, is active is if it's active or not, and access token is their access token. So
Cool.
yeah.
So access token keeps on updating.
Yeah, so access token is actually their HIP token. So what happens is, there are a few APIs which I'll show as we go, which are created against an HFR. So that is their access token. So it doesn't update. It's like it's like the same way where we have a token for our lab login for mobile apps. There's a token. It expires in some time. You have to refresh it. So yeah, that's how it is. And last is Fiducia. So Fiducia में एक HIP का table है. वहाँ पे हम लोग update करते हैं on creation. So I'll show you that also.
It's like, yeah, I got it.
It's like almost like a labs वाला table.
Yes, I know, I understand.
Yeah. I'll still just show it.
Do you know why it is called fiducia?
No, I don't know actually. It's a question that I also have, but I don't know.
Questions.
Yeah. So this is the So this is the sorry fiducia table. Now in this there are a few keys which are not used anymore. This is one is LH powered. So charger. Please look at my camera. So one is this LH powered, which is like because earlier it used to be when I told you right ki we were planning on having it available for other parties also.
Cool.
So that is why there was one, and there's Alias and all these things which is not actually used in the implementation as such.
Okay.
That might have been just created. So yeah, moving on. Yeah. So moving on, what is the acceptance criteria for this feature? So first is that lab trying to register under HFR should be able to do it. So these are kind of like high-level functional cases that we should think about. Which is lab entering incorrect information should show an alert. Labs leaving some fields blank should show an alert. Labs outside India trying to register should not be able to access, and labs with existing HFR should not be able to create new ones.
Okay.
So yeah. Now second is health ID creation. Now health ID creation is nothing but when we saw the definitions, there was one thing which is ABHA, which is your ABDM ID essentially, which is given to every patient. So it's like an other equivalent of healthcare, where every patient will have a unique ID and that they'll be able to use. So now what happens is for patients to use it, there has to be a way where they're able to create, or labs are able to create health IDs for their patients. So it's like, okay, you log into Google Pay app, but you don't have a UPI ID yet. So it has a way to create a UPI ID and then also use it, right? So it's that equivalent where we have a provision where labs can create ABHA IDs for their patients, right? So this is that. Now the problem that we are trying to solve over here is if we don't have a solution where labs are able to create health ID, they have to rely on patients creating it and then coming to lab. The possibility of that is very low. Initial stage, and that's why we wanted to have a solution where that's done. Now success of that is measured by how quickly and easily labs can generate health IDs. So first is the number of health IDs that they create. So if they're able to generate more and more health IDs for their patients, it means that it's a success. And second is by how easily and with how little effort they're able to do it.
Yeah.
Now audience, this is specifically of course for labs who want to participate in ABDM, but also specifically for labs who have a B2C presence. Because B2B labs cannot use this because they need details of the patient and the patient has to be present there.
Yeah.
So B2C labs is where it actually is useful. Now solution. To create a health ID of patient, we have developed a simple and efficient multi-step process. So what we do is, now these are the fields that you have to enter. Now there's a process to it. I'll just elaborate on the process first. So I'll just go to this particular thing. I'll go back. Yeah. So this is the flow. So what happens is somebody is trying to create a health ID. So first thing you take is the patient Aadhaar number. Okay. Then you come to OTP verification. So if the OTP verification passes, then you go to patient phone number. So you take the phone number of the patient. If that is also same as Aadhaar number, if it is not, then there's one more OTP verification. If yes, so you directly go to patient information, where you have to fill the patient information. Now patient information is your name, gender, and all those things. Then you have desired ABHA available. So desired ABHA is okay again. Now similar to हाँ दिखाता हूँ. So I'll just go, yeah. So the first step is that you enter the Aadhaar number. So I'll just enter the Aadhaar number for now. So you enter your Aadhaar number.
So this is the Aadhaar OTP.
Yeah, your Aadhaar OTP. Yeah.
From Aadhaar.
Aadhaar, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you'll enter the mobile number. So now what happens in the mobile number is if it's the same as the Aadhaar number, तो एक और OTP नहीं आता, वरना OTP आता है, where you have the OTP. So
here in this case it was different.
It is different. So actually कभी-कभी for some reason वो आता है कभी-कभी, but it's not something that we can control. So yeah. So what we've done is, now if you see, as soon as you're entering your first name and last name, so मैंने भी आयुष और मेहता लिखा, there's a Abha address that you have to create, right? So Abha address is like, again, like you have a UPI ID and you have different addresses. So like
UPI
there can be like multiple addresses, right? So this is like the equivalent of that, where you can have multiple Abha addresses.
Correct.
So yeah. So now, as what we've done is, as soon as you make your first name and last name, we automatically pre-fill, like we create like first name, last name, and then ABDM as the default, and we show that is this available or not. So in this case, it's available, so it's green. And till time this doesn't become available. So till time desired address is not available, this next button is
email ID is not mandatory.
no, it's not. No, email ID is mandatory, I think, or I don't remember. मैं next में लिखा है मैंने, तो समझेगा. Yeah. Now, what happens sometimes is, if you already have a if you already have a Abha address created, currently in our system, it returns the same Abha address. So the one that you created newly, that is not taken into consideration if you already have an existing one. This is kind of like a problem, but it's a problem because of the old system.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
सो अभी आप देखोगे अगर वीडियो में, तो यहाँ पे मैंने आयुष मेहता 33 डाला था, राइट?
हाँ.
बट क्योंकि मेरा ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग है, तो उसने वही रिटर्न कर दिया.
got it.
सो उसने देखो यहाँ
तो
पे
अगर ऑलरेडी रहेगा तो दिखा देगा.
वो दिखा देता है कि उसने आयुष लाइव एट एबीडीएम दे दिया.
हाँ.
बट एक प्रॉब्लम इसमें क्या है कि इट शुड शो पहले ही कि अरे आपका ऑलरेडी है एग्जिस्टिंग,
Yeah.
राइट? विच विल बी सॉल्व्ड इन द later which I have. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the UI. Now moving to the tech details. So this is how it uses. Now these are the technical details. So I'll just come over here.
Yeah.
Actually नहीं, इसमें मेरा फ्लो चार्ट है क्या? Okay, there's no flow chart. Okay, because the flow chart is the same. So cool. So the first thing that you do is you send the Aadhaar number.
Yeah.
You send the Aadhaar number, and request you get. So the response you'll get the mobile number associated with the Aadhaar.
But mobile number will not be the complete mobile number.
Nah, yeah, you just get like this last four digits दिखते हैं खाली, and you get a transaction ID.
Okay.
Okay. Now this transaction ID is what that is used in the future. I'll show you where. So Aadhaar number is, so the only thing that you have to pass is the Aadhaar number. This is your Aadhaar number, and it's also shown as live as UI पे भी Aadhaar number है. Then the second API is OTP. So OTP is what you enter. So now whatever OTP I've received, I enter that, and the transaction ID that I received in the first API. Yeah.
Got it.
So transaction ID. In response, you get all these details. So in response, you get the mobile number of that particular patient. So this is the Aadhaar details that you get.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get like Aadhaar details, you get name, you get.
So why are we not pre-filling?
Yeah, because I didn't know. So I didn't know that you get this in the response.
Yeah.
So you get district, you get locality, you get all these things.
So transaction ID again here, so is the same or it's different?
No, it's a different transaction. So depend करता है. I think same भी हो सकता है. It's a different transaction ID. Yeah. So different transaction ID.
Cool.
So you get different transaction ID. Now once that is done, now there's the mobile number. So इसमें आप मोबाइल नंबर डालोगे, ट्रांजैक्शन आईडी जो आपको पहले मिला था वो डालोगे. उसके बाद सेम यू विल गेट द OTP, अगेन OTP and transaction ID you will enter, and then the OTP is verified. Okay, so now your mobile.
Sorry, I didn't. Fourth वाला point पे क्या हो रहा है for verification?
Same. So again, you send the mobile number with the transaction ID that you received in the previous step.
Yeah.
You send the mobile number.
Yeah.
So once that is done, they'll receive the mobile. They'll get the OTP. Now you have to verify the OTP, right? So now you again send the OTP that you are entering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so OTP verification kind of. Yeah.
Every step has two API calls.
Yeah, two
One
API
is the first you request
Generate. So
OTP.
generate and verify. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
Then there is so that is done. OTP is done. So उसके बाद you have to send. Now then after that, when you fill the details, this is the API is called, which is like a check that the address is available or not. So whatever Abha address is created, you check. So you just send the like the ID that you've entered, and it returns the status as true or false. So if it's true, then it's available. If it's false, it's not available. And whenever it comes as true, then you have to pass these details: this is first name, last name, which is entered by the username. Health ID is what you entered, and email is the email. So then इसमें response में you get a token, you get all these details. So this is like name, gender, year of birth, वगैरह वगैरह. These are details that you filled, and some are also pre-filled from Aadhaar. So this is like a combination of all, and you get auth methods also. Now auth methods will be used when we go further. So just take a look at it, where there are different auth methods possible. Is Aadhaar OTP, Aadhaar biodemographics, and mobile OTP.
Got it.
Yeah. Now these are the things that you have to send. So first name, last name, transaction ID, health ID, and these are the things that we show on the
ठीक.
Twilio UI. Now what is the acceptance
So
rate? Yeah.
एक चीज मैं पूछने का था, after this is done on the UI, let's say you are registered, so we prefill all the registration page for details.
No, we don't. So this is the create वाला thing, no?
I
Create
know.
में अपन नहीं करते हैं.
अरे,
We should.
ठीक
मैंने
है,
आपको पूछा था, I think, but we decided that it's just we're optimizing something which is not used, so we were like,
fine.
yeah.
Fine.
But we should.
ठीक.
I agree. Actually, it मतलब I'll come to it, but the next step जो अपन को करने का है, उससे actually redundant हो जाएगा. It will not be used only.
हाँ, ठीक.
So it's not, yeah. So yeah, acceptance criteria should be like try creating a new Aadhaar address with correct information. It should be possible. With incorrect Aadhaar details, first step it should fail. Create a health ID for patient with the same number as Aadhaar mobile number or mobile direction must not be needed. Create a health ID for a patient without name where creation should fail and error should be shown where details are missing. Create health ID where desired Aadhaar is not available, submit button should not be clickable, and create health ID for a patient who already has a Aadhaar address, existing Aadhaar address should be returned. So these are the different types of this. The last part is linking. वीडियो रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, मैं पॉज कर दूँ क्या? Should we continue later on? I think वैसे भी बहुत bombarding of information हो जाएगा.
हाँ, ठीक.
वो कट करना पड़ेगा.
वो तो कट, मैं वो कर हो जाएगा.